You're listening to Investify, preaching financial independence and assisting investors to achieve a more flexible and free lifestyle through smart financial planning and real estate investing. If leaving the corporate world and jumping into this thriving industry is what you desire, tune in and listen to stories of like-minded individuals who made the leap to financial independence. Equip yourself with the right tips and tricks to start your real estate journey, making active or passive ventures that are highly profitable and rewarding.
What's going on, everybody? You are listening to Investify. My name is Craig Curlop, aka the Fi Guy, and I am here rocking a solo episode today. Unfortunately, Allie's wife got really sick, and I think she's in the hospital. And so, if you wouldn't mind giving Allie some love, obviously, I sure hope she'll be better by the time this actually releases. But just show her that you care. She's Allie the Agent on Instagram. Shoot her a quick message and just send her some love because it's always not really very fun to have somebody sick in your family. And so a little bit of updates on my kind of what's going on with me, I guess. I just got back from an amazing trip in Belize, did some cool scuba diving and all that, and luckily it was pretty much all paid for by points, so that's a good thing about having a business that spends a lot of money. And then also, I'm in my new office for the first time. I built it myself, with the exception of the rough and electrical, but I finished off the electrical myself. And I gotta say, I'm pretty proud because I have gone from barely being able to change a light bulb to now building actual structures and rooms that work, and internet is hooked up and all that where it was not hooked up before, like there was no internet in this room before. So, pretty pumped about that. So, all having some new challenges. I realize it's not high dollar per hour work, but I do get some fulfillment and enjoyment out of just building things. And so if you guys like something, right, even if it's not a high return on investment, I highly recommend just like do it, like do what fills you. And if you wouldn't mind, actually, like I'm really trying to like get to know you guys a little bit better. So drop me a line on Instagram, the Fi Guy on Instagram. Shoot me a message and just tell me some of the things that you like to do for fun. And who knows, maybe we've got something in common. Um, Speaking of things in common, Connor Anderson today has been a friend of mine pretty much since the beginning. Like he was my roommate on my second house hack. I potentially even knew him before I closed on that second house hack. So like 5, 6 years we've been friends and we've really had this real estate journey together. And he was someone that, I think followed a very similar path to me, but he has some nuances where he moved to a new place, started house hacking in a new place, became a real estate agent, and he's just got a tremendous story. And I love it because he's buying deals that most people wouldn't even buy these deals. But at the end of the day, he's in it for the long run, and you'll see how much wealth he's been able to create just by just by buying real estate and waiting instead of waiting to buy real estate. And so, with that being said, let's bring my man Connor Anderson onto the show. This episode of Investify was brought to you by the Fi Team, a team of investor-friendly agents that service all 50 states. If you are looking to house hack, to invest, grow your portfolio, and want a true investor-friendly agent on your side, go to thefiteam.com and click Get Started, and we can't wait to have a good conversation with you. Connor Anderson, what is up, my friend? How you doing today, dude?
I'm doing great, Craig. How about yourself, man? Good to see you.
Yeah, man, good to see you too. I'm doing fantastic. This is actually my first day in my new office, which I built myself in my shop at home. So,
Okay.
um, it's it looks great here, but if you look all around, it's like total trash. So,
We'll spin the
that's
camera around. Let me see.
oh, absolutely not. That's between me and myself.
Okay.
But yeah, man, Connor, dude, it's been a minute, man. We've obviously been friends for a long time. It's been a long time coming to
Mhm.
have you on the show. So why don't you kind of tell us when you first heard about financial independence and how your journey started?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think my journey with financial independence probably started around my junior or senior year of college. Getting towards that period of time where you're thinking about what I want to do after school and working forever didn't sound super duper exciting. So what I kind of came to the conclusion of is that, hey, I want to be wealthy and have some income coming in every single month when I don't have to work for that income and kind of stumbled upon real estate as an avenue to earn that income. And just like everyone who kind of thinks about real estate investing, they end up getting into bigger pockets. So I started listening to all their podcasts in college. Um, Fast forward probably about a year, I graduated college, was living in Denver, heard actually your episode on the Bigger Pockets podcast, reached out to you, and you and I think we met up at Blue Moon, hung out, and we kind of became friends from there. All the while, still kind of educating myself on real estate and financial independence, and landed a job at Bigger Pockets, where my kind of interest in financial independence really, really geared up because I was surrounded by yourself, Scott Trench, Mindy Jensen, and all these people that are financially independent but continue to work because they're passionate about it. And that's kind of what got me excited about, hey, I can be passionate about what I do for work and still kind of have income coming in where I don't have to earn it.
For sure. And so did you hear about real estate? Like, did you stumble, was it a friend? Did you hear about it through Bigger Pockets, or did you read did someone give you Rich Dad Poor Dad and you actually read it?
It actually, I think it was kind of intuitive. I just kind of thought, hey, what do rich people do? They own real estate, and they
Mm.
have rental properties. So it was just kind of intuitive.
All right, Connor. So you figured out that real estate was the way to go. Obviously, you need some money to start in real estate, and you just graduated college. So I'm gonna go ahead and assume that you didn't have too much money starting out. And so, what did you do to actually save up some money to buy your first house hack?
Yeah, so in order to save up money for my first house hack, I basically did everything that I possibly could do to lower my expenses and also increase income. So I actually was your roommate, Craig, in your second house hack in
You
Denver,
were?
and we came up with an agreement. Yeah, you remember that,
Oh,
right?
not barely.
Yeah, but we came with an agreement like, hey, your rent I think was at started at $400 per month, but it went up $50 every single month until I moved out of the property and bought my first house hack. So that was a great way for me to save some money. But I also rented out my car on Turo and bike to work every day, and I even spent weekends working at my friend Mike Brockway, his tent rental business as well. So I was just really, really saving as much money as I possibly could by lowering those expenses and also earning extra income outside of my job at Bigger Pockets.
So dude, I feel like your story and my story are kind of go hand in hand, where you're just like super scrappy, saving as much as you can, and then on the other hand, making as much as you can. T taking
Mhm.
days off of work to just go make more money, and you basically get like double paydays.
Yeah, I definitely did use PTO once to work another job. Which
Yeah.
is kind of silly. You're supposed to use that PTO for vacation, but hey, you got to do
Yeah,
what you got to do.
it's straight hustling, man. And so, how long did it
Mhm.
take you to save for that first down payment?
Yeah, so I think it took me about 6 to 8 months of being extremely, extremely frugal and working as hard as I possibly could to come up with the $15,000 that I needed in order to buy that first house hack.
Okay, so 6 months to $15,000. It's like
Mhm.
$2,000 to $3,000 a month, so not bad. How much were you making at this time?
My salary was $50,000, and then I was making bonus checks of about 10 or so $1,000 every quarter.
Okay, so you're making under $60,000, and this thing is still possible for you. And this is back in 2018, 2019, right?
Yeah, and correction, it was like the bonus checks were like every quarter, so like I was getting like $10,000 every quarter roughly based on my
Oh,
sales.
okay,
Yeah,
okay, okay. Okay, so actually, you were
yeah,
making a lot more than
yeah, but
you were probably making
probably
closer to 80 to 90,000
closer to
a month.
100. Yeah, yeah, right around
Uh,
there. Yeah.
Okay, so you actually are making a pretty good salary, so you're able to save up quite a bit, and I suspect your bonus checks just went right to your savings anyway.
Yep.
Is that right?
Yeah, that or paying off a little bit of either student loan debt or car payment to lower that to increase my debt to income ratio so I could maximize my purchase price.
Okay, tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so for me in my situation, since I did have a good amount of student loan debt and a car payment, and the lender could only kind of go off of my base salary that I was earning, my debt to income ratio wasn't very good for being able to buy a property in Denver that's 300, 400, 500, $600,000. So I had to kind of pay down some of my debts to increase my debt to income ratio so I could buy property for, you know, a property that I liked and wanted. So that's what I had to do with some of those extra bonus checks is kind of pay down some debts to increase my purchasing power.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, and that's just exactly how the debt to income ratio works. And so, although you were making $100,000, the banks didn't see that. They were seeing that you were
Hmm.
making $50,000, which makes it harder to afford a place. And so, I think
Correct.
what we're about to get into right now is the for real deal. Bum bum
Wow.
bum.
Oh, that
Wop
was
wop.
epic.
Yeah, dude. So Hunter, this is the first deal you ever did, intentionally or unintentionally. And so, why don't you tell us a little bit about the first deal, how you found it, and
Hmm.
all the numbers, all the juicy details on it.
Yep. So for me, it was a couple of months of looking at properties to really understand what I was able to kind of make happen. Because, my budget was about $270,000. And back in 2018 in Denver, that didn't go very far. I wanted to buy a house with an ADU. That didn't work out. So I wanted to buy a single family house with a basement. Couldn't really afford that. So what I ultimately landed on was a townhouse that was 2 bedrooms, 2.5 bathrooms that had an unfinished basement where I then finished out the basement. I purchased the property in December of 2018. We found it on the MLS for $260,000 with an FHA mortgage. And that's when, yeah, I added the bedroom to the basement, and I lived in the basement bedroom and rented out the other bedrooms, and I was house hacking and living for free.
Okay, and so just a few questions here. And so, what was your mortgage payment on that house?
Yep. So the mortgage payment on that property, including taxes, insurance, and the HOA, is about $1,700.
Okay, and what were you getting for the rooms?
I was getting $850 a month per room,
Okay, so you're
so
basically
1,700
like
bucks.
you're basically breaking even.
Yep. Yeah, I was breaking even. If the dishwasher broke, I'd have to pay to get it fixed, but I wasn't paying $1,000 a month or whatever in rent.
Right. And so, you mentioned you had two bedrooms upstairs. You're finishing out the basement
Mhm.
downstairs. Did you do
Mhm.
that work yourself, or did you hire somebody else to do it?
I did some of the work. I did the framing of the bedroom, and then I hired out the drywall because drywall is not fun to do, and it's easy to do it really, really poorly. So I decided to hire that out. And then I also hired out the electrical work, but the painting and the trim work and some of the flooring I took care of myself.
Okay. And so how much did you end up putting into adding this bedroom?
I think the cost of the bedroom was about $5,000, including yeah all the materials and the labor.
Okay, and that's going from basically a concrete basement floor, nothing, not even a frame up, right? And basically
Mhm.
building all the walls. Did you add a window as well?
Did not add a window. So this, unfortunately, like today it's not a legal bedroom. So I don't market it as a legal bedroom, but it was a place for me to live while I was house hacking, and I felt comfortable doing that. But yeah, right now my current tenants just use it as a movie theater room, which is actually kind of cool.
Oh, pretty cool. Okay, that's awesome. And so,
Yeah.
you're making $1,700 a month. Your mortgage is 1,750. Now,
Hmm.
most people today and most people wouldn't do a deal like that, right? It's not cash
Hmm.
flowing. It really can't even cash flow maybe when you move out because you really can't rent out that extra bedroom. And so now that you've bought this like almost 5 years ago, tell us like, is that a purchase that you regret, or is that a purchase that you're really glad that you did?
No, I'm extremely glad that I did this deal. Right now, so I bought the property in December 2018 for yeah $260,000. It's worth roughly about $380,000 today. All for
Wow.
having to put $15 to $20,000 into the property to buy, and up until probably 3 to 6 months ago, you wouldn't call it a cash flowing rental property. It was a property that kind of broke even the entire time, but it's gone up 100,000 plus in value in the last 4 years. So it hasn't been one where, hey, I can quit my job. or buy myself a steak dinner once a month on this deal, but it's been a huge wealth generator for me and been a very, very impactful towards my journey of financial independence.
Yeah, and I think so many people these days, especially because like the deal that you did then is kind of like what we're seeing today, but actually in like the even when people can actually afford something a little bit more expensive. These days you're not finding anything for
Hmm.
270 in Denver. But
No.
now it's like the prices have gone up so much, the interest rates have gone up so much, the rents haven't quite caught up yet. And so people are like, oh, I don't
Hmm.
know if I want to buy a deal if it doesn't cash flow off the bat, because that's what we've been trained to
Hmm.
think for so long. But I think in the long run, right? If you 5 years later, you're going to be very happy that you bought this property because now it sounds like you've turned the corner and it is cash flowing you. So what are you renting it out for now?
Yep. So right now I'm renting it out for $2,200 a month, and yeah, like my mortgage is still $1,700, but it's a property, it's a townhouse, so I don't have to worry about a roof or stuff like that. And realistically, I kind of just squirrel away $250 a month for vacancy and small repairs. And then, the rest of it is kind of cash flow, but realistically, I'm not even spending that cash flow on anything. So it's just kind of all that additional money is going towards, sitting in a savings account and eventually buying me the next property. But it is a deal that cash flows a little bit today.
Okay, so there you go. And that I think that right there is kind of probably like an avatar for what a lot of the deals now are going to look like because it's so hard to
Hmm.
find something that cash flows now. And I think that's just it's good on you, man, for doing that. Um, and
Yeah.
so what happens next after this one?
Yeah, so after that first deal, continued working at Bigger Pockets, but eventually decided that I wanted to go full time into real estate as a real estate agent. So I moved from Denver back home to Michigan, got my real estate license, and started being a real estate agent. Um, Before leaving Bigger Pockets, I made sure I did buy another property that we can talk about in a little bit. But because yeah, the reason I wanted to buy that property before leaving Bigger Pockets and leaving my W twos, taking advantage of that, easy financing. So I did that. But for the past 3 years, I've been a real estate agent, and the vast majority of my clients are investors or house hackers.
Connor, real quick, before we get into the real estate agent stuff, what was what did you do? So I didn't quite follow. Like you bought your place in 2018, right? The townhome, and then you moved to Michigan. Did you buy another place in Denver to take advantage of something, or
Oh no, so I moved back to Michigan and I worked for Bigger Pockets remote for a period of time,
Mhm.
and continued my W 2 with Bigger Pockets and bought a property with my W 2. And then after that, dove full time into being a real estate agent in the world of being a 1099 employee. But yeah, for those who don't know, being a 1099 employee and getting a loan is kind of difficult. So I wanted to keep that W 2 before I bought my second property.
That's right. That's a common mistake that I see a lot of people make before you decide to go full time into real estate. Keep your W-2, use that income to buy the property, and then you can go ahead and start with your fun adventures. And so, tell us a little bit about that second deal. So you moved to Michigan. Did you know the market of Michigan? I know you grew up there, but did you move to where you grew up?
So I moved to an area outside of where I grew up, and the city is called Grand Rapids, Michigan. It's an awesome, awesome town, and it's one of the faster growing cities in the Midwest. But I bought a house actually, basically sight unseen. I got my offer accepted because it was April of 2020, in the midst of the COVID shutdown, and I couldn't actually see the property until it was under contract because real estate was non-essential at that time. But I had actually also never lived in Grand Rapids before. So I kind of just did a lot of research online and connected with a really awesome team of realtors that I ended up joining to kind of point me in the right direction. But bought a property that is 4 bedrooms, 1.5 bathrooms, in one of the coolest areas of town, about 1 mile to downtown, close to the hospitals, and a really, really great area for house hacking and renting.
Okay. And so what did you pick up this property for?
I paid $225,000 for this property in May of 2020, and I used a 5% conventional mortgage to buy this property.
All right. So you're putting down like a little over 10,000, and then did it need
Yeah, I
any
think my
work?
total, yeah, I think my total cost was about like, yeah, $10,000 to $15,000 for the property, including down payment and then closing costs. it really didn't need any work. I've done a decent amount of work to the landscaping and some paint and stuff like that, but it was basically pretty turnkey property. Just kind of made it a little bit more appealing.
Okay. And so you had to move in there, so I suspect you did that, right? And then what happens next?
Yep. So I moved in to the property and rented out the other bedrooms. So I was getting about my mortgage payment is about $1,200 on this place, and I was renting out the bedrooms for about $500 each, which was kind of low, but I rented out to friends. So it was another situation where I was, making a little bit of money on top of the mortgage, but I was realistically just kind of living for free, which is awesome.
Wow. And so this one you were actually, I mean, you were bringing in $1,500 a month, right? You were living in one bedroom, so you're living rent free. And so you got $1,200 in mortgage after expenses and stuff. You're probably right around break even. So, I mean, and you're in a killer part of town. And so this one you said didn't need any work. How was it? People always ask me, do they suggest renting to friends? Obviously, you have to give them a discount, and they might take advantage of you. Is like all the kind of the bad sides to that. Have you had any? What was your experience like?
So my experience was okay. The one mistake that I feel like I might have made was I didn't put them necessarily on a lease with a deadline. It was just kind of a month to month situation. And with that, there's kind of no motivation for them to get out or move on to something else because eventually I kind of just decided that, hey, I want to take advantage of living alone and kind of enjoy that. So it was kind of after about a year and a half or close to 2 years of house hacking with roommates, I kind of decided I wanted to live alone and there was no deadline for them to kind of move out. So I had to have kind of some awkward conversations where if you're doing 3, 6, 12-month leases, there's kind of an end date. If for whatever reason you decided to, not want to renew a tenant's lease or a friend's lease. So that's kind of like the only mistake that I would say, but it was still overall a good experience.
I think that's almost kind of funny because people usually want people to stay. And so a month to month lease could actually help you in that regard, right? Because then they're just like, oh, they'll move next month, they'll move next month, they'll move next month. And before you know it, 18 months have passed and there's no like nothing getting them to move. So can you see that working for
Yeah,
someone's
exactly.
benefit? We hope this episode is inspiring you to take action. If you're thinking about becoming a real estate agent or an agent who wants to join an investor friendly team, just hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy because we are growing our team in Denver, Seattle, San Diego, and Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, but also adding to our network in all 50 states. And if you didn't already know this, the Fi team provides a super supportive environment with one on one coaching, accountability, and ongoing training to help develop kick ass, rock star, investor friendly real estate agents. So hit me up on Instagram at the Fi Guy, shoot me a DM, and we'll set up a time to chat. Can't wait to chat with you. When you're really hooking somebody up though and giving them $500 a month in rent, which is obviously below market, like it is going to be hard for them to leave, obviously. And so tell me, Connor, like, this goes on for 18 months. You ask them to move. Are you still friends with them today?
Yeah, I'm still friends with them today. And honestly, it might be a better friendship today than it was when we were roommates because now we just get to hang out and actually have fun outside of the house and go golfing and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm still friends with them today.
Okay, dope. And so you're living in that house from 2020 to what it sounds like mid 2021 with roommates, and now you're just living there. Are you still living in that home, the second one?
Yeah, so I had roommates from 2020 until mid 2020 until I think it was end of 2022. So for the past 6 months, it being May or April of 2023, I've been living alone. But I'm about to move out of this property into my third deal in about 3 to 4 weeks after I close on this property.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about this one. What made you want to make the move? Tell us what you liked about the house, and how are you handling it in these kind of like high interest rate environments?
The only reason I have bought a property sooner than now is because it's taken me a long time to actually be bankable with the different lenders now that I have, my couple of years of tax returns 1099. So I filed my taxes and I got a property under contract within 2 weeks of being pre-approved for a mortgage. Um, this next property is a duplex that I found off market. It's a side by side duplex in Heritage Hill in Grand Rapids, which, if anyone knows, is a very nice historical area in Grand Rapids. Um, but it's a side by side duplex, which is extremely rare in this area. Most of them are up down duplexes that were at one point a large single family house that had been converted into a duplex. So this was kind of a rare thing. And each unit is 3 bed, 2 full bathrooms, which is also extremely rare in this area. So I really liked the setup of this property. So that's why I got under contract.
Okay. And what'd you buy it? And what'd you buy it for?
We're going to be paying $410,000 for this property. But since it was off market, I was able to get the seller to pay me a commission still. And I'm using an FHA mortgage. So basically, I'm going to be coming out of pocket very, very little money to buy this property because I got my commission covered, which covers my down payment, the majority of it. And I'm getting $5,000 in concessions. And the property is currently rented out. So I'm going to be collecting prorated rent for basically the entire month of May, and also collecting their security deposits. So it'll be a property where I think realistically, I was just doing the math. I'll be out of pocket about $2,700 total to buy this property at the closing table.
Jeez, that is absolutely nuts, man. And so, you keep saying this is off market. How did you find this off market deal?
Yeah, so I looked at expired listings, and this is a common way that a lot of real estate agents get listings. But instead of looking at properties that just recently expired, I looked at properties that had expired like at least 3 months ago, all the way back to like 2 years ago, and kind of narrowed it down to, hey, here are properties that I would like. And I just reached directly out to the seller and said, hey, I want to buy your property. Here's a little bit about me. I'm pre-approved. I want to buy this property. And he agreed. We kind of had a back and forth on pricing, but he agreed, which is awesome. So, like, I got this property off market. It's a very competitive market out there, especially in the multifamily space here in my city. But on top of that, this guy owns about 10 other properties. He moved out of Grand Rapids, now lives in Boston, Massachusetts, where Craig would be familiar with.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
and he wants me to hopefully list these other 8 to 10 properties once we close on this one. So it's been a really, really great connection that I've made with this guy.
Man, I love that. You always hear about people hitting the immediate expires, but you have to kind of do what other people aren't doing. Right? And so going back, you're going to have more swings and misses. But the great thing about expireds too is that like it's literally like their listing agreement has expired. And so as a real estate agent, this is why I think it's really valuable to have your real estate license as an investor. Not only can you easily pull these expireds up, you can easily search the sellers, give them a call, and not even ask them to list it, but ask them to buy it. You can save them 3%, right? On the sell side realtor stuff if they wish to go in unprotected. And you'd be like, hey, like I'll navigate the transaction for you. You're gonna save here. And I think that's a really big win for a lot of sellers.
Yeah, totally.
And so just to kind of help you, so I just want to make sure I'm doing this math correctly, right? So you came in at this $410,000 purchase. You're doing 3.5% down. So let's say roughly $15,000, right? You're gonna get 2.5% back at closing for your commission.
No, it's a 3% commission.
It's a 3% commission. So now you're only coming into 0.5% down. And then you have $5,000 seller concessions on top of that. And so that I'm just, just for you guys listening, how does he come? How do you get from 15,000 to 2,700? Well, that's how you do it. And a big part of that is just becoming a real estate agent. And so,
Yeah, another strategic thing. So I'm going to try and close on like basically May 2nd or May 3rd. And by doing that, I'm going to collect basically almost a full month's rent from the current tenants. And like thankfully, one of the tenants, their lease is ending at the end of May. So I'll be able to move into the property after they move out. But yeah, I'll be collecting about $3,000 in rent at the closing table as well
right. And your mortgage won't even be due until
until July
July
1st.
1st. So
Yeah.
you're basically getting $3,000 of like straight cash flow for a month, which is going to be kind of nice. And so, yeah, I mean, you put all that together, and you're pretty much out of pocket net zero, which is awesome. What is that? What is that property being rented for? What's your mortgage anticipated mortgage payment? Like, what do the numbers look like on that one?
Yeah, so currently the property is a little bit under market rent. So it's collecting about $3,400 total. One side is really, really nice. I'm going to retain those tenants and maybe just increase the rent a little bit to, I think, about $1,800. And then I'm going to move into the side that needs a lot of work and do all the rehab there. But once this property is kind of all finished up and at market rent, the mortgage payment is going to be roughly $3,000 a month. But the total rent collected on this property at market rate will be about $4,200 per month.
Wow. And your mortgage payment is
3,000.
oh 3,000. Okay, great. So
Yeah.
so you're gonna be cash flow basically $1,200 a month here. And does that include you living in it or not you living in it?
While I'm living in the property, I'll probably have to pay about $800 to $900 out of pocket just to kind of cover the mortgage, but that's a heck of a lot less than an entire mortgage payment or renting. But I just plan on being in the property for about a year and then I'll move on to something else.
Awesome, man. And so you're back on that year track. Now it's essentially like you've got a W-2 because you've got your 2 years tax returned as a real estate agent. On this house, I guess like does it need any work, anything like that, or are you just planning to?
Yeah, so the side that I'll be moving into, honestly, is pretty nasty. The current tenants in there are three probably recent college grads. There's cigarette butts on the outside. There's beer cans all over the place. There's a cat that I'm not sure if it's their cat or not. It seems like it might be a stray living in there, but it's pretty darn gross. So um, my game plan is to get in there, have the place completely cleaned, and then going to open up the main floor by knocking out some walls. Going to do all new flooring, all new cabinets, all new countertops, probably update both of the bathrooms, rip out the carpet, probably do luxury vinyl planking on the flooring just because that's a lot sturdier and lasts longer than carpet. And really, really increase the value of this property significantly while I'm living there, to just make it, a better place and increase the value and increase the rent.
Nice, man. And so, have you ever considered doing a short-term rental or a medium-term rental here? But if you're in a good location, you're near hospitals, you're near college.
Yeah, so Grand Rapids, unfortunately, is a city that doesn't allow for short-term rentals. They just have a lot of restrictions in place for that. But medium-term rentals, you absolutely can. Um, in our market, and this might be very similar in all other markets, but the vast majority of people that are looking to do medium-term rentals are nurses or professionals like that, and they only want kind of single units. And I've kind of done the research with Furnish Finder and stuff like that. They want like single studio or one bedroom apartment. And with this being a bedroom apartment, probably wouldn't make the most sense to do medium term rental, but it's something I've looked into for sure.
Okay. Okay. Cool. I mean, it still sounds like you're kind of picking up an awesome deal here with the side by side duplex. Those are my favorite properties as well. And so, talk to me a little bit about, you mentioned you're a real estate agent. You moved, and that's kind of like your main thing now. Obviously, we're in the midst of buying a property, but when you're not buying property, you're a real estate agent. So tell us a little bit about that business, why you decided to become a real estate agent, how it's helped you, and yeah.
I've always been passionate about real estate investing, and kind of decided I wanted to do a career that would take advantage of that passion and knowledge in real estate investing. So I've been an agent now for 3 years, and over the past 3 years, I've helped about 70, 80 clients, something like that. I can't remember the exact number, but of those clients, the vast majority of them are investors, and a lot of them first time house hackers, which I'm super duper passionate about helping out those first time house hackers because I've been through exactly what they're going through almost on a yearly basis, but oftentimes I'm just like 1 or 2 years ahead of where they're at, and I just get super duper excited to get them starting on the right path towards financial independence or just having a nice financial future. So some of my clients that I'm most excited about and that I have the most stories about are the young folks that are just out of college, or they might not even gone to college, but they're on their second, or and we're talking about getting their third deal here. So it's a lot of fun working with these house hacking clients.
Yeah, I would agree. I love working with the house hackers. I think that's my passion as well. It's just helping people better their financial future. And I mean, there's something to that for sure, man. There's something to that. And so, what's next for you, man? I know you got this house kind of on your plate. You're waiting to close on. What about in your business, your real estate business, life in general?
As soon as I kind of close on this property and get it buttoned up, want to continue to grow my real estate agent business. My goal for the year is to help 48 people buy or sell real estate in the year 2023. A little bit behind at the moment, but I think I'll be able to kind of make up some ground here, especially with that awesome connection that I made with the seller of my property. Hopefully, with some of his properties. For me, talking about kind of like financial independence, I want to start to tackle actually my debt. I will at the end of this transaction, own about $1 million worth of real estate and still have about $60,000 of student loan and car debt that I just haven't paid off because I
You still haven't paid that
prioritized
off, dude?
buying. No, no, isn't like it. I really prioritize investing in real estate and stocks rather than paying off that debt because I can get a lot better return on my money by investing than paying off 5% interest. Um, but at a certain point, I do want to get rid of it. So I think that'll be kind of like my focus after this next property is kind of paying off debt, and then from there, who knows?
Yeah, it's kind of funny, man. I was kind of had the same approach, right? I bought my first two house hacks, and then I just had student loans, but I had like $90,000 student loans, and I was just like, man, this like it's weighing on me. It sucks, and like I know it's not the most efficient. They're 5-6%. I know house hacks are going to be better, but what I would always do is like I need to make sure that I'm going to house hack next year. Like that's priority number one, and I know I need about $30,000 to do that, so I set $30,000 aside. After that $30,000, that's when I started just hammering down the loans. I ended up paying my loans off in like 15 months or something like that. So um, I'd imagine you could probably even go quicker than I did because you'll be a real estate agent making a lot more than I was, bigger
Yeah.
pockets. So
Yeah. Hopefully I can knock it out in the next 12 months or so after tackle this next deal.
awesome, man. Cool. Well, I think we're about to head into the final four, Connor. Before we do you have any other words of wisdom for the audience?
There's two common quotes that I use with clients all the time. One of them is he who chases two rabbits catches neither one. And usually that's pointing at the client who says, hey, I want to flip. I want to buy short term rentals. I want a house hack. I want to tackle this market. I want to tackle that market. If you have your focus in 25 different directions, you're never going to actually take any action. So yeah, you always want to just focus on one thing. And the other thing is just imperfect action is always better than perfect inaction. That's
Ooh,
another thing where people get into analysis paralysis. They're trying to squeeze these numbers in all kinds of different ways to say, hey, this deal works or it doesn't. But like in my example with my first property, it wasn't necessarily a great cash flowing deal, but it's gone up $120,000 in value. And it's a deal that most people wouldn't buy, but it's been a great wealth generator. So imperfect action is better than perfect inaction.
I love that. Yeah, I love those kind of quotes that like jumble words around a bit, but I think that's so true. I say it to my clients too. I say, I promise you, I've never met a single person in real estate who wishes they bought later, right? And
Yeah,
so it's like
exactly.
I've never heard of that. So like that's one of those
Mhm.
things like you just need to buy now. Um,
Yep.
all right, man. Well, with that being said, let's head into the
The
final
final four.
four. Usually I've got Allie here to kick me off, but I will do the honors. So Connor, what book are you reading right now?
I'm rereading the book The Go Giver. It's a
Mm,
pretty simple book, but it just really, really is an awesome book to kind of show what impact helping others first can make in your life and in your business. If you just kind of focus on helping others, it'll come back twofold.
love it, man. And what's the best piece of advice you ever received?
I'd probably circle back to kind of those two quotes that I used. It's better to just take action even though it's not perfect, and just having a really good focus on one goal rather than five goals, and you'll make it happen.
Love it, man. And what is question number three? What is your why?
That's something I wrestle with. I might be one of those people. I don't have a super duper clear why or a big why. Realistically, I just like real estate. I like real estate investing. Kind of the money that you make with it is awesome. But you're going to meet some cool people and help them out. And maybe that's kind of my why is just kind of helping out others. But I wouldn't say it's a big why to end world hunger or be the next billionaire. It's just I enjoy it. I'm excited about it, and I get to meet some cool people and help them out. So that's my why.
All right, Connor. Question number four. What is the most hilarious fact you know?
All right. So the most hilarious fact that I know is that there's a pretty funny Easter egg that I planted on Bigger Pockets. So if anyone goes to biggerpockets.com/Craig, there's a very funny video that explains some of his extreme frugality, or just kind of pokes fun at him. So that's the most hilarious thing that I know.
Yeah, I didn't even know that was there until literally right now, and I think that's. I mean, I'm I'm kind of laughing here. We actually had to pause the recording because I was laughing. Um, Connor, man, thanks. Okay, so yeah, go check out biggerpockets.com/Craig if you want to hear a funny video. And Connor, where can people find out more about you?
Yeah, I mean, number one place is my Instagram, Connor, CONNORT Anderson. I post weekly videos talking about real estate investing, and just how to kind of take action towards financial independence. So that's a great place for me to reach out. And I can even get my cell phone if you wanted. I got my business line.
Go for it if you wanted.
Yeah.
If you're cool with it.
Yeah. Anyone who's in Michigan that's looking to, buy and sell real estate and really get into financial independence and house hacking, my phone number is 616-648-6353.
Connor, thanks so much for coming on, man. It's been a pleasure to have you. It's always good to hear your story. It's always good to catch up.
Yeah.
And we'll chat soon, my man.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Craig. I'm looking forward to it.
Later, dude.
Bye.
And that was Connor Anderson. Man, it's so cool to hear Connor's story. Again, I feel like I've been with him. I was with him for the first couple years, but we've certainly kind of deviated in the last couple. And I just love to see how much he's grown. He's buying his second place or his third place, building a real estate agent team, similar to kind of what the FI team does, honestly. And it's just so, I guess it's like, it makes me feel really good because I feel like he has looked up to me for a little bit. I feel like he's been really good at kind of following the steps, and now he's creating some serious wealth for himself. He's helping, hundreds of other people create serious wealth for themselves. And so that you can see how this whole thing is just a big community, is that once you tell one person, right, like Connor is like a rock star. And so if I can tell 10 people, if I can tell 10 Connors about financial independence and real estate investing, and they can go on and tell 100 more, right, that's 1,000 people that I have basically directly impacted on real estate. And so I want to encourage all of you guys listening, if you are around people who are into real estate, like tell them what you're doing, because it just takes that one person to get become a licensed real estate agent or become Insta famous or something. And now they're telling tens of thousands of people, and it's all kind of generating this purpose of the American dream is dead. We want to have financial independence. We want to do the things that we truly love to do. And so go ahead and talk to 3 people this week about financial independence that you might not have talked to otherwise. And if you like this episode, guys, please share it with your friends. Please leave the show a rating and review. It tremendously helps us out. And hit us up on Instagram as well. So, guys, thanks so much again for listening, and we'll see you all next week.
That's it for this episode of Investify. We hope that these nuggets of real estate wisdom lead to more savvy financial planning and a clearer path towards financial freedom. For more content like this, subscribe to the show at investify.com. Don't forget to leave a rating and share it with your friends. Together, we can transform more real estate newbies into successful and clever investors. Thank you so much for listening. See you on the next one.